Cool. 13 Roman 2 integer. Roman numerals are represented by 7 different symbols. And then there's just a table. This is standardish. For example, 2 is II, and the tricky one is probably the subtraction one. I can be placed before 5 and 10 to make 4 and 9, and so forth. Given a Roman numeral, convert it to an integer. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think this is probably straightforward-ish in that like you just have to follow. I think the only tricky thing is kind of the look forwards with the I's, X, and C's. But I think you could just special case it. I think, to be honest, I probably could think about it. I mean, I'm also trying to think about how to do this coding in an efficient way. I think what I would do is maybe I would have someone like, I don't know, a values table where I create a hash table. I start with kind of the lookup where I is equal to 1, V is equal to 5, X is equal to 10, and so forth. I mean, I'm still, the so forth, actually, the yada yada, I still have to type it out. But I would just stop talking about it. Okay. And then now I just could go technically character by character. So like, C in a way S. And then now we could check one character forward because that's all you need. And then if, I guess the cool way is also sipping this with some, no, but then it skips the last character. So let's just do it this way. It's fine either way. So then, next character is equal to S I plus 1, but we should bound check is less than n of S. Let's just actually set n is equal to n of S so we don't incur the cost every time. This is a terrible number perhaps. Let's just say next character, that's short. So let's say current value of the current character is equal to the values character lookup of the lookup table. And now we want to look up the same thing, but for the next character. And if, the next value, I should probably properly label these. I find let's actually use real variable names. I'm gonna leave the n though. N seems pretty straightforward. But what is next? And then now if value is greater than next value, then we can subtract it. I guess I have to do this in actually with a while loop. And then char is equal to s sub index. The reason is so that we could skip ahead if we need to. If the y is bigger than that, then also keep a running result. Yeah, it depends on the language, but you're not well. And it depends on the underlying data structure sometimes. Like if you do in C, then it is not cached, right? But yeah, but certain languages, it really depends on language. Like well, in C it'll be stringlen, and stringlen is a thing. Anywho, then yeah, then result is equal to let's do next value minus value, and then now else we just could add the value also even here. This is mostly right, maybe. I don't know if I'm missing a case or not. Let's verify that, right? 3 is not going to test enough to whoops. I was going to say it didn't test enough, but still enough to catch a bug. Did I not test this? Oh, and see, I refactored without an IDE, which would have refactored all the variables, but always a little silly. Time limit exceeded. I guess that's what happens when you don't increment. So yeah, let's just increment index plus 1. And then also in this case, we actually want to do an additional index plus 1. Also group them together if you want to be technical. Right? Oh no. This should. Oh, if YU is. No, I did this backwards. Oops, I meant this. So if the next character is bigger than the current character, that's when you get into one of these scenarios. Okay, cool. Is there any zeros and edge cases we have to think about? I think 49 is usually the weird one because you need to do a 40 and a 9 instead of 150. So let's kind of play around with that. X was XL, IX is 49. Maybe I got to do a test on 949, which is CM. But I can't imagine it be that different. Yeah, 49 is okay. Let's just do one more. Yeah, okay, let's submit. Maybe if I miss a case, I miss a case. Cool. Yeah. I mean, overall, yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those problems where you just have to follow the rules. And I think what I would think about when I see some of these problems is, you are right. That is true. But yeah, when I think about these problems, I think the number one is, well, you can always do it as like hard coded, if you want to call it that, or like, because you could definitely, write this one with like 7 if statements and plus another 3 if statements with another like 2 parts and stuff like that. So you could definitely do stuff like that. So in terms of like difficulty, there's nothing like tricky. In terms of understanding, like you can understand it because they tell you exactly what you have to do, right? So I think the thing with these problems is try to think about how to implement them in a way such that you could just be efficient about it. And also, you think about the other ways of doing it, there might be just typos and the more code you write, one is, well, if you're an actual interview and if you're in an interview where you're on a whiteboard, that's a lot of writing, right? So definitely I would practice that skill of just kind of figure out how to, look at the rules and break it down into components such that you can, write as least code as possible. And certainly, I definitely would say for this particular problem, it's and they didn't really do anything tricky, which is good in the sense that Roman numerals is a thing that people have some knowledge about, and I happen to know the rules for Roman numerals, and these are pretty straightforward. There are no tricky cases because I think sometimes some problems might have like this is Roman numerals except for this one case where X Y Z, but that's not happening here. That's why I was able to write this pretty quickly. And what I still this basically the base condition is just you want to sum up all these things except for the 3 special cases in which I thought about it as just if you have a current character and then the character after that is bigger than the current character, then you just look it up, but then you just do the subtraction instead. But yeah. but it's also pointed out in the stream, then yeah, the current look ahead will be added in the next iteration. So I didn't even actually need to do that. That's perfectly true. I think for me, I still think about it, and that's something that is true because in this case, the operator is addition, and and addition is what you call it, commutative. So therefore, you could add it later if you do it one by one and so forth. But I think for me, I my current kind of pattern is when I see stuff like this, is thinking about it as kind of almost like an expression parsing, uh, and for that reason, where like in this case is for me, I would consider that like a postfix type thing, where like you use it a queue instead of a stack, and that's how I kind of think about how I structure this, and that's why. But your mileage may vary. You may associative, yeah. Uh, but yeah, but so these are the patterns that you have, and it's okay to kind of vary from place to place. Just get the one that you're comfortable with, especially on an interview. Just make sure that if you're in an interview, make sure you communicate your assumptions and why you're doing what you're doing as you're doing them, and that's probably the most important thing for problems like this, so that they don't have to guess what you're doing, so that even if you make a typo or mistake, they follow your dot every step of the way, versus just like, okay, you have this thing, but then like, you know, how does they don't get a benefit of the doubt when they have to guess how you get to certain places. But yeah, but in general, pretty straightforward. I mean, I don't even know if it is straightforward per se. It's just that it's a very like people know what Roman numerals are because they're real life things. So I am able to kind of know from that. But yeah, we're pretty okay. And I mean, I don't know if you need to practice this per se, but it is good practice, and it is a standard like follow the rules type problem where like, oh, you have this rule set, and then now you have to do something to somebody based on it. So yeah, pretty standard.